Welcome, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. In this explainer, we're going to dive into some of the most bizarre, incredibly minimalist, and honestly, utterly fascinating digital artifacts floating around the internet right now. We're looking directly at source material from a YouTube channel named, quite fittingly, AI Chaos. And let me tell you, chaos hits the nail right on the head. We aren't looking at traditional narratives today, not at all. We're analyzing raw, algorithmic content generation, where the metadata writes a massive check that the actual content just doesn't cash. And trust me, by the time we get into this epic tale about a humble baker named Elias, his quote-unquote golden heart, themes of moral fate, and a dramatic lost heirloom, you'll see exactly how strange this whole thing gets. Okay, let's dive into this. How does a golden retriever save a fallen elephant? Because this absurd question right here is the exact hook presented by our first source. Just take a second and picture the sheer logistics of this. A golden retriever, a massive fallen elephant, a rescue mission. It's a wildly spectacular image that naturally sparks a bit of playful curiosity, right? Like you instantly want to know the mechanics of how a dog could possibly pull this off. It's a completely sensational premise, and as you'll see, that's exactly the point.
Welcome to AI Chaos.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the overarching premise of this specific type of algorithmic media. The channel AI Chaos seems to operate entirely on generating highly sensationalized, keyword-stuffed content designed specifically to game internet search algorithms and just farm clicks. The vast majority of the content here is heavily weighted toward the packaging. You've got the massive sensational title and a huge cluster of hashtags, but the actual spoken transcript, the substantive meat of the story, it makes up the tiniest little sliver of the pie. It's all promise, built mostly out of metadata, with practically zero delivery.
Section 2. The Golden Retriever Crane Rescue. Let's look closely at the exact title of the first video from our sources. It's called Crane Rescue, Golden Retriever Saves Fallen Elephant. It really escalates the absurdity, doesn't it? Not only is the dog saving an elephant, but now there's apparently heavy machinery involved. The title implies this massive, multi-step logistical operation, like a true cinematic epic. And supporting that epic title are these specific hashtags pulled directly from the source. Notice how incredibly engineered they are. We've got hashtag dog, hashtag golden retriever, hashtag rescue, and hashtag elephant. These aren't just innocent descriptions. They are discrete, highly targeted data points. They're casting the widest possible net to capture search traffic from animal lovers, folks looking for heartwarming rescue videos, and fans of exotic wildlife. It is just pure algorithm bait. And this brilliantly illustrates the implied sequence of events promised by all that metadata. We have this grand, soaring timeline. First, the tragic fall of the massive elephant. Then, the heroic arrival of the golden retriever. Next, the mobilization of heavy crane machinery. But then, when we actually look at the transcript of the video to see this thrilling action unfold, we hit an absolute brick wall. That grand cinematic sequence comes to a screeching halt at exactly 2 words.
Section 3. The urgency of run. I really want to shift our focus completely away from those epic algorithmically generated titles for a second and look squarely at the literal transcript provided for this massive rescue event. Are you ready? Run. That's it. Let that sink in for a moment. A fallen elephant, a crane, a heroic golden retriever, and the entirety of the spoken audio provided for this monumental rescue event is literally just run.
What we're looking at here is a masterclass in extreme minimalism. We can define this simply as a micro-narrative. Because there's such a massive void where the actual story should be, those 2 little words, run, have to do an incredible amount of heavy lifting. They somehow have to convey a sudden burst of panic, urgency, and momentum. The algorithm provides the nouns, right? The dog, the elephant, the crane. But it relies entirely on your imagination, fueled by those 2 words of panic, to actually build the rescue scene in your head.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, morality, rich versus poor.
So if the first source was an action epic, the second source from AI Chaos pivots entirely to a drastically different, deeply karmic theme. Here's the incredibly detailed title directly from our second source. The fate of the poor man who saved the puppy and the rich man who abandoned it. Hashtag golden retriever. This is a classic, age-old algorithmic morality trope, promising a really satisfying narrative of cosmic justice. But in the source material, this poor man isn't just some blank archetype. He's specifically a character named Elias, a humble baker renowned for his so-called golden heart. So the crucial point is how this perfectly sets up 2 opposed forces. On the left side, we have pure virtue. Elias the baker, his golden heart is compassionate rescue of the abandoned puppy, and a very dramatic plot point involving his quest to rescue a lost heirloom. Then, on the right side, we have vice, the cruel rich man who abandoned the puppy and actually lost that very heirloom. It's this complex moral drama established entirely before the video even theoretically begins playing. You're completely primed to see exactly what karmic fate befalls Elias and the rich man.
Section 5, the what's wrong wow climax. So, with this complex, multi-layered moral drama established, with the fate of Elias the baker, his golden heart, the lost heirloom, and the rich man all hanging in the balance, what is the grand, sprawling transcript that resolves this incredible conflict? Prepare yourselves. What's wrong? Wow. 3 words. The AI promised us this sprawling Dickensian tale about a baker returning a prized heirloom to a cruel rich man, and the reality of the text is just this tiny, disjointed, microscopic reality crashing against a grand karmic promise.
If we deconstruct the drama here, it's a completely absurd 2-step process. Step 1, hook the viewer with a massive moral conflict involving Elias and the rich man. Step 2, deliver this sparse, microscopic dialogue. What's wrong? Wow acts as this incredibly bizarre ultimate reaction to the unfolding drama. But think about it. Who is actually saying it? Is it Elias the baker? Is it the rich man? Wait, is the golden retriever reacting to the lost heirloom? It is just absolute, unstructured AI chaos. Which really leaves us with this final lingering question. What actually was the ultimate fate of Elias the baker's golden heart, the lost heirloom, and the rich man? Well, the truth is, we have absolutely no idea. Because of the chaotic, minimalist nature of these AI-generated sources, the audience is left entirely in the dark. It turns out that algorithms are getting incredibly good at selling us epic moral fables, even when they completely forget to actually write them. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep an eye on the metadata out there.